So we'll click the agree, the user agreement, and we will read it. So here, as you can see, there's the unit investment trust fund participation trust agreement. Here, the number, the date, the account number, participant's name, participant's address, name of fund, then participation amount. Here, I or we, the participant, desire and agree to participate. Make it more bigger. To participate in the fund being managed and administered by ATRAM Trust Corporation as trustee in accordance with the declaration of trust of the fund, the DOT or the plan, and the terms and conditions in this participation trust agreement executed pursuant to the requirement of Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So it is legal. Unless otherwise defined herein, capitalized terms used herein shall have the same meaning ascribed to them in the plan. So here's the definition of terms. Participation in the fund shall be made by purchasing participation units at the prevailing net asset value per unit. So in a VU, net asset value per unit, and shall not be less than the initial minimum investment. So if you invest, so you need to invest not less than the initial minimum investment, as we can see in every product. So investment amount indicated in the plan. Participation shall be allowed only at such frequency or at such times as participation units as appearing in the participant's confirmation of participation. Each participation unit shall have uniform rights and privileges as any other participation units. The fund is subject to a minimum holding period as indicated in the fund specification. Any redemption made within the minimum holding period shall be subject to early redemption fee, which shall be redemption fee for this fund is blank % in the amount redeemed. Subsequent contribution of, so we don't know yet the % or the redemption fee. Subsequent contributions of the participant in the fund is subject to minimum additional participation amount as indicated in the fund specifications and shall result to the participants additional proportionate interest in the fund. Clients, here the second, then go to the second term. Client's suitability. Prior to the acceptance of the initial participation from a participant, the trustee shall perform client suitability assessment through a client suitability assessment form, which shall be accomplished and signed by the participant. Disclosure of rest. The trustee shall disclose to the participant the rest attendant to the fund prior to the accepting of the latter's initial participation. The participant shall acknowledge the disclosure of executing a rest disclosure statement form. So this disclosure of rest. Redemption. The participant may redeem his or her its participation by submitting a redemption form to the trustee. The redemption of participation unit shall be allowed only at such frequency or at such times as provided in the plan and fund specifications. The redemptions of participation unit will be based on the applicable net asset value per unit. That's the NAV. Or we are logged out automatically. Need to log in again. GInvest. Here, beauty products. ATRAM Global Technology Feeder Plan. So let's buy. Proceed. There the statement. User agreement. So we are reading the statement. We are in number 4. Fourth term. Here talking about the redemption. The participant. So we're talking about the redemption of participant units will be based on the net asset value per unit. So it is based on the NAV. No partial redemption from the fund shall be effected if the amount so reduces the participant's proportionate interest in the fund below in the minimum maintaining participation indicated in the fund specification. So redemption from the fund shall result in a reduction of participants' proportionate interest in the fund. Such reduction shall be expressed in units based on the net asset value per unit. So that's redemption. A written confirmation shall be issued. So there's a written confirmation shall be issued to the participant for every redemption as evidence of partial or full redemption of his or her its participation units. The outstanding unredeemed participation units as well as subscription redemption transaction for the relevant period shall be reflected in quarterly statement to be sent to the participant. So there's a written confirmation that will be sent to us if we will redeem our investment. The trustee serves the right to suspend redemption of participation units in case of national emergencies, fortuitous events or severe market liquidity. So there's a liquidity or national emergency, so we can reserve the right to suspend, so we cannot redeem if something bad happened in our economy. In such extreme situation, there may not be enough buyers for securities, or the spread of prices may be extremely wide. Forcing the immediate sale of assets may be more detrimental for the fund. The trustee may defer or any request for redemption, or a whole or in part, in a redemption request to so deferred will have priority in first come first served basis. Over subsequent redemption requests received on the next business day. So the next fifth term is administration and investment of fund. The fund, which is the pool of trust funds from the participating participants, shall be managed, administered, and invested by the trustee under the operation of the plan. The trustee shall have the exclusive management, control, and administration of the fund, and shall have full discretion over all matters affecting the fund, subject to the plan and the fund specifications. In the discharge of its duties enumerated in the plan, the trustee shall always be guided by the level of fiduciary duty prescribed under applicable laws, but in no case less than the diligence recognized under the prudent man's rule. So that's administration and investment of the fund. Liability of the trustee, save for those that are attributable to the trustee's fraud, willful default, bad faith, or gross negligence. The trustee shall not be liable for any loss or depreciation in the value of the fund. So if it depreciate or loss the value of the fund, so the trustee is not liable. Or in the value of the participants' participation in the fund. The trustee shall not be liable for any error in judgment, for any act done or lag out again. Automatically lag out. You will come back again. Well, read it again, so that we'll understand, because we need to understand it, because we are investing. I think GCash needs to upgrade or update their automatic logging out. Hereby proceed. So we are in the sixth term, the liability of the trustee. So I think we'll not read it all. It is understandable that whatever happens to what happens to the unit, or if the unit depreciate or loss or any error, so the trustee is not liable for that. So we should be responsible in. We the investor should be responsible for our own investment. So number 7, non-responsibility beyond stipulated scope. The plan and these agreements set forth exclusively the duties and responsibilities of the trustee with respect to the matters pertinent thereto. No implied duties and responsibilities of the trustee with respect to the matters pertinent thereto. No implied duties or obligations shall be read into the plan or this agreement against the trustee. So that's about non-responsibility. Right to refuse to act in perception of liability or violation of law. The trustee may refrain from performing any instruction or from doing anything which it in good faith deem would or might be contrary to law or government regulations or judgment, award or decree binding upon it, or which or might render it liable to any person or any government agency. So our uncertainty as to the duty and advice of counsel in the event that the trustee shall be uncertain as to its duties or rights her under, or shall receive instruction, claims, and demands from the party or to which in its opinion conflict with any of the provisions of this agreement or plan, the trustee may refrain from taking any action until it shall be directed by any order of court of competent jurisdiction. The trustee may act in reliance upon the advice of counsel in reference to any matter in connection with this DOT, and shall not incur any liability or any party for any act or omission taken in accordance with such advice. Taxation. So there's a taxation or tax exemption or income or other yield earned by a participant from the fund shall be based in prevailing tax laws and regulation of relevant taxing authority. So the taxation is also based on that our current tax laws, or if there is tax laws. Taxes and investment of the fund or income earned by the fund, including assessment of deficiencies, penalties or charges, claims, and cost of defense or counsel in appropriate proceeding shall be for the account of the fund, notwithstanding anything to be contrary contained herein, in the event that there shall hereafter occur any change in tax laws, ruling, and okay, I will not read all of that. Report. So upon the request of participant, the financial report of the fund, which are prepared periodically, shall be made available for the participant's inspection at the trustee's office during regular office hours on business days. So where there are reports in we can request report of our fund or our unit or investment. Disclosure, we're logged out again. So we are in the report disclosure in the disclosure term number 12. Disclosure of investment outlets. The trustee shall make available for review by the participant a list of prospective and outstanding investment outlets for the fund, which list shall be updated quarterly. So there's quarterly update. Compensation. As compensation for the trustee services, it shall be entitled to trust fees as provided in the plan. Expenses. The trustee may charge the fund for other qualified expenses incurred. Okay, we'll not read all that. So let's talk about the expenses. So there's a charge. Term agreement. The agreement shall continue and remain in force until full redemption of the participants. Okay, so the term agreement will be in effect until we will withdraw or redeem our investment. Amendments. The plan and fund specification may be amended from time. So there are amendments from the time by the trustee, and the amendment shall be submitted to the BSP. So it is always connected with the Banco Central. Nature of agreement. The participation in the fund is a trust product arrangement and not a deposit account. Neither is it an obligation of or granted, issued, or insured by ATRAM Trust Corporation or affiliates or subsidiaries. The fund is therefore not insured or governed by the Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation, PDIC. So there's no PDIC in our investment. So there is no insurance if something bad happens to our economy. So the fund, its yields and potential yields are not guaranteed. Any income or loss arising from market fluctuations or price volatility of the securities held by the fund, even if invested in government securities, is for the account of the participant. As initial investment contribution, historical performance when presented is purely for reference purposes and not for guarantee of similar future result. The trustee is not liable for losses unless upon willful default, bad faith, or gross negligence. So that's nature and agreement. So here the investor must read the complete details of the fund in the plan, declaration of trust, and the fund specification, and should make his or her own independent assessment, and when necessary must seek independent professional opinion advice before making any investment in the fund. So we should be responsible investor. By signing below, I or we hereby warrant that okay, so we our signature, by printed name, 4 signatures. And then here below, another signature by printed name. Okay, that's the agreement. Participation trust agreement. Here, the second one is agree to fund information and investment disclosure statement, rest disclosure statement. So the user agreement. I will not read that. Okay, I will just read the 5 pages. Just scan it. But I really read it all because the GCash is keep on closing. So here, the unit investment trust fund, risk disclosure statement, general risk factors prior to make investment. Okay. Investment in the funds does not provide guaranteed returns even if invested in government securities and high-grade prime investment outlets. Your principal and earnings from investment in the funds can be lost in whole or in part when the net asset value per unit at the time of redemption is lower than the net asset value per unit at the time of participation. Gains from investment is realized when the net asset value per unit at the time of redemption is higher than your net asset value per unit at the time of participation. So it is very important that we participate or we buy the product when it is low or at low price. Your investment is in any of the funds exposes you to the various types of risk enumerated and defined hereunder. Interest rate risk. An investor may experience losses due to the changes in interest rates. The purchase and sale of debt instrument may result in profit or loss because the value of that instrument changes inversely and prevailing interest rates. So there's changes of interest rates. The bond portfolio being marked to market is affected by changes in interest rates or by affecting the value of fixed income investments such as bonds, interest or rate changes may affect the price of fixed income securities inversely. Interest rates rise, bonds price fall, and when interest rates decline, bond prices rise. So the decline of interest rate, bond prices rise. As the prices of bond investment of the fund adjust to rise in interest rates, the fund unit price may decline. Market price risk. So that's the rest of the interest rate risk. So there's changes. There are changes. Depends on the market, economy, the interest. It depends on the market. Still the market. So market price risk. Changes in market prices of securities, bonds, and equities may result to losses for investors. It is exposure to uncertain market value portfolio due to price fluctuations. The funds are exposed to the risk of losing value due to decline in securities prices, which may sometimes happen rapidly or unpredictably. The value of investment fluctuates over a given time period because of general market conditions, economic changes, or other events that impact large portions of market, such as political events, natural calamities, etc. As a result of the net asset value per unit may increase to make profit or decrease to incur loss. Liquidity risk. This is a possibility for an investor to experience losses due to the inability to sell or convert assets into cash immediately, or instances which conversion to cash is possible but at a loss. This may be caused by different reasons such as trading in securities with small and few outstanding issues, absence of buyers, limited buy and sell activity, and underdeveloped capital market. So that's the liquidity. So there's possible that we'll lose our money. Liquidity risk occurs when certain securities in fund portfolio may be difficult or impossible to sell at particular time, which may prevent the redemption of investment in a fund until its assets can be converted into cash. Even government securities, which are the most liquid of fixed income securities, may be subjected to liquidity risk, particularly if sizable volume is involved. We are logged out again, so we are logged in again. Market price risk, liquidity risk, okay. For instance, we are in the credit risk, default risk. An investor is exposed to credit default risk as there is a possibility that a borrower may fail to pay principal or interest in a timely manner on instruments such as bonds. loans, or other forms of debt instruments or security which the borrower issued. This inability of the borrower to make good on its financial obligations may be resulted from adverse changes in its financial conditions, thus lowering credit quality of the debt instrument or security and consequently lowering the market price risk, which contributes to the difficulty in selling such debt instrument or security. A credit default by the insurer of a debt security in which the fund is invested will result in a sharp reduction in the price of such debt security and lead to a lower net asset value for the fund. Credit risk also includes risk on counterparty, a party which ATC trades with on behalf of funds. Counterparty risk defaulting on contract to deliver its obligations either in cash or securities. In case of unit income paying fund, such fund is also exposed for the following risks. So there's a credit risk or default risk. So if the money that we invested, if the borrower is not a good borrower, not paying their debts, so there's a default risk or credit risk. In case of unit income paying fund, such fund is also exposed to the following risks. Dividend paying equity risk. There can be no guarantee that the companies that the target fund invest in and which have historically paid dividends will continue to pay dividends or pay dividends at the current rates in the future. Distribution risk. While the target fund manager intends to distribute income in respect of each accounting period, there is no assurance on such distributions or the distribution's rate or dividend yield. Reinvestment risk. There is a risk associated with the possibility of having lower return or earnings when maturing placement or interest earnings are reinvested. Investors in funds who redeem and realize gains run the risk in reinvesting their money in an alternative investment outlet with lower yields. Similarly, ATC is faced with the risk of not being able to find good or better alternative investment outlets at some of securities in the funds mature. Hedging risk. This is the risk associated with possibility of an investor experiencing losses brought about by the inherent risk which the underlying investment is exposed to despite the use of hedging order for hedging to be effective. The prices of the hedging instruments and the underlying investment should normally move in opposite directions. There is no guarantee, however, that the effectiveness of a hedging instrument shall remain throughout the term of underlying investment. Should a hedging instrument become ineffective, liquidating their base on market prices may result to market losses. Derivative risk. The fund may use derivative for hedging and investing purposes will not be extensive or like outright in the derivative. We are in the derivative risk. So in the derivative risk, the fund may use for derivative of hedging and investment purposes. However, usage will not be extensive and only for efficient portfolio management. The fund may suffer losses from its derivative usage. In case of fund that is followed and invest in securities dominated in currencies other than its base currency, such fund is also exposed for the following risks: foreign exchange risk, country risk, legal and tax risk, and other risks. So based on foreign exchange risk. Fluctuation in foreign exchange rates may lead to losses for fund. Currency exchange rates depend on a variety of global and local factors: interest rates, economic performance, political developments. So those are foreign exchange rates. Risk. It is the risk of fund to currency fluctuations. When the value of an investment in securities denominated in currencies other than the base currency of the fund depreciates. Conversely, it is the risk of the fund to lose value when its base currency appreciates. The net asset value per unit of a peso-dominated fund invested in foreign currency securities may decrease to incur losses when the peso appreciates. So it's good when the peso is depreciates. The net asset value per unit of peso-dominated fund invested in foreign currency securities may decrease to incur losses when the peso. It's good if when the value of peso increases. Country risk. A fund may suffer losses arising from investments in securities issued in foreign countries due to political, economic, and social structures of such countries. There are arrest foreign investment due to the possible internal and external conflicts, currency devaluation, foreign ownership limitation, and tax increases for foreign country involved, which are difficult to predict but must be taken into account in making such investments. So the leaders here matters in country rest in making friendship or the international relations with other country that we are investing. Yes, especially this technology product. So likewise, brokerage commissions and other fees may be higher in foreign securities, government supervision and regulation of foreign stock exchanges, currency markets, trading systems, and brokers may be less than those in the Philippines. The procedures and rules governing foreign transactions and custody of securities may be also involved. Delays in payment, delivery, or recovery of investments. Yes, here also matters. The leaders, especially the president, his policies in our country matters. So legal tax rules, the interpretation and implementation of laws and regulation are constantly changing. They may be changed in retrospective effect. As such, investors are exposed to legal and tax risk since additional taxes, including any charge or penalty, may be applied to transactions of fund made prior to the investor becoming unit holder. If any change in tax laws, ruling, or in the interpretation or administration thereof is implemented with a retroactive effect, likewise, an increase in tax rates will have a negative impact on the performance of the fund. Okay, so the policies of the leaders of our country matters. That choosing a leader matters also. Other rest, your participation in the, so we are in the other rest.
Sometimes we're not ourselves. There's no one I can turn to.
You are done reading this one.
I know all the feelings that we shared out in the past. And I know your relationship.
We are in the other rest. Other rest. Here. Your participation in the funds may be further exposed to the rest of any actual or potential conflicts of interest in the handling of in-house or related party transactions by ATC. These transactions may include own bank deposits, purchase of own institution or operative obligations, example stocks and mortgages, purchase of assets from or sales to own institutions, directors, officers, subsidiaries, affiliates, or other related interest parties, or purchases or sales between fiduciary managed account. So next is specific risk factors. Further to the general risk factors set out above, potential investors should be aware of certain fund-specific risks. The fund underlying investment are subject to interest rate risk and credit risk. ATRAM Emerging Market Bond Feeder Fund, ATRAM Peso Market Money Market Fund, ATRAM Global Total Return Bond Feeder Fund, ATRAM Global Allocation Feeder Fund, version 2022. Unit Investment Trust Fund, ATRAM Total Return Bond Fund. Okay, we'll not read it all. It's all about the product of the ATRAM Corporation. So here are our signatures. Okay, so we'll proceed. So all in all, so we should be responsible in our investment. We should be responsible. We should understand what we are doing, what we are investing in. Here's the code 25972 259722. Okay, check, submit. Here's the minimum amount, market value of investment. To enter the amount 1,000. That's the minimum in global technology. So you're about to buy 1,000 per investment using GCash. Approximately unit equivalent 4.47 units based on the latest net asset value per unit. Okay. There's issue agreement. Subscription or buy order. Disclaimer. This is not deposit or not insured by PDIC. Returns cannot be guaranteed by the product. Okay? We are aware of that. Just confirm. Confirm. Okay, buy, order, place. Please wait while your order is being processed. You will receive an SMS once the transaction has been confirmed. So here, the SMS in my other phone. You have paid 1,000 GCash. Okay, 7:31 PM to payment to investment account Trustee low period. Okay, we will view our investment here. Okay, we have total buy orders here 1,000. Review the product. Review the details again. So pending buy orders 1,000 is order is still pending. Okay, I don't think it's a good buy because the curve is so high. But we'll just find out how it works. Okay, we still have 140, so we'll invest also. Not GCash. We will invest in other product. So let's try ATRAM Philippine Equity Smart Index Fund because the curve, as you can see, it's a good time to buy here. Okay, try to buy, and the return is 63%. Good return. So we'll not read it. The agreement. We already read that one, so we'll proceed. So there's the code for 83301. 483301. Check. Okay, minimum amount, so we'll invest 100. Next. You're about to buy, if your investment is in GCash, 1 point. Based on this, I agree with the terms. So I read that. Confirm. Okay, order's placed. So we'll just wait until our investment is approved. So as you can see there, the total buy orders is 1,100. Here's your products. Here the ATRAM Philippine Equity. Here 100 are pending by order. Here we'll just go back another day and check it if it is approved. So that's all for now. So just keep it updated. Subscribe, like and subscribe and share our channel for you to get updated of our investments and video tutorials and other inspiration videos that we'll make soon. Okay, thank you for watching and God bless.